live.
All right.
All right. Hopefully this is coming through. I'm just getting used to this. This is Neil Hess. This is Voices on VoiceOver, the podcast, and also the Facebook Live event. And I am here with Marc Scott. Marc, how are you?
I'm good. How are you, Neil?
I'm doing pretty good. Enjoying the basement in this nice summer heat we're experiencing out here in Washington. Believe it or not, there are hot parts of Washington. People tend to think it's all rain, all cold all the time, and that's not true. You get the east side of the Cascades, and it can get up into the triple digits fairly easily. So, anyway,
it's been similar here.
Yeah, and you're south of Toronto, and that seems
Ontario.
Southern Ontario. Okay, how far is that from New York City?
I'm about where I'm at right now. I could be at the New York State border in about an hour and a half.
Oh, okay.
Which would put me in Buffalo. Yeah, about an hour and a half. So New York City, I'm not 100% sure how much further down it is from there, but okay. I'm about 3 hours to Detroit, or about an hour and a half to Buffalo.
Cool. All right. So so if you're listening to this on the podcast, just a reminder that this is a recorded live on Facebook. So I encourage you to go check out the Facebook page. You can get all the links at voicesonvoiceover.com. But let's get into Marc's story. Marc, if you wouldn't mind giving us a short background, how you got into voiceover or how you fell into it. It seems like a lot of people kind of do, and where you've come.
So my story is probably similar to a lot of people. I was a radio guy. I started in radio in 1995. And for those of you that don't remember, that's back when radio was fun. That was back when radio was still live 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. And you used records and CDs and carts, and there were no computers in the broadcast booth. And it was a good time back then doing radio. I did that for a number of years. I did all different day parts and everything like that. And all the while that I was doing radio, I was always doing voiceover. I just never knew that that's what I was doing, because I was always doing commercials and different things like that. And as I started to get more established in my radio career, people would come to me and say, hey, could you do a voice for this or do a voice for that? And I just never really realized that I was doing voiceover. And then I guess in about 2000, I got to try to remember my dates now. 2011, 2012, I think it was 2011. I got downsized from a radio job. I had been hired 3 weeks before ratings, and they said, we have no expectations. It's 3 weeks before ratings. Just, we need you to fill the spot. And so I came in, I filled the spot. I gave them number one across the board on ratings. And 2 months after that, I still got downsized. And so I was like, all right, you know what? If I can come into a market and I can deliver number one ratings and still not have job security, it's time to find something else to do. And so that was the end of my radio career and the start by default of my voiceover career. By that point in my radio career, I had been kind of doing voiceover a little bit more on the side, kind of a part-time deal. And always thought it would be cool to do it full time, but never had the guts to do it full time. So in one sense, getting downsized from radio was probably the best thing that ever happened to me, because it was the kick in the butt that I needed to finally go after this full time. So I have been, I guess, officially full time in voiceover since 2012.
Wow, full time for 6 years now. So okay, cool. And I first stumbled upon you when I was looking for, I guess, marketing help. I was like, okay, I got my demo made and I got a little kind of website going on and everything. But your area of focus, at least from my experience, has been marketing. So for those of us who are not yet full-time, how would you suggest starting?
I think as voice actors, we are creatives, and we have this creative mindset, and that creative mindset isn't always necessarily the most conducive to operating a business. And I think one of the advantages that I had coming in was I am not a creative, and maybe that's not an advantage, but I'm much more of a business guy. So I think that it's a lot easier for a business guy to get trained in voiceover than sometimes it is for a creative person to wrap their brain around the business side of things. So I started doing coaching in the business side of things because at the time that I was starting out, there wasn't anybody that was teaching it. Um, I knew that I needed to grow a business. I knew that that was essential. Like literally, you are becoming an entrepreneur. You're starting a small business, and so I think for those that are starting out, equally important to your performance coaching and your demos and getting your studio set up and getting your sound dialed in and all of that sort of stuff, equally important is the study of entrepreneurship. And I think that it's something that is often overlooked because it's not as much fun. We want to be in the booth. We want to be recording. We want to be doing the jobs. We want our agents to bring us all the work. And it sounds great in theory, but not necessarily the reality of how it works. And so you have to learn to be an entrepreneur. And I mean, when I go to voiceover conferences, I've said it from the stage of WOVO, from the stage of VO Atlanta, every voiceover conference that I've ever spoke at, the number one piece of advice I can give is learn to be an entrepreneur. I've taken entrepreneurship courses through my local community college. I've done like online classes and stuff. I've read books. I listen to podcasts. I follow entrepreneurs on social media and learn all of that stuff, because the reality is that if you don't master that side of things, you're not going to spend nearly as much time in the booth as you would like.
Absolutely. And now, when you get down to the practical aspect of it, and I know that you have a ton of stuff, great content, which I personally have purchased and used and enjoyed from your website, marcscottcoaching.com, M-A-R-C, marcscottcoaching.com. Just want to give you a little plug there.
Thank you.
What are some of those things, I guess, that you wouldn't mind, those little practical tips as far as giving away, that you wouldn't mind sharing with us?
The first thing is that you got to overcome your fear. And I think probably one of the most common fears is, I don't want to annoy people. We're afraid to reach out. We're afraid to market our services because we're constantly afraid that we are going to be annoying people. And that is a huge mindset issue that needs to be overcome. And it's simply not true. The reality is that if you are good at what you do, if you've done the coaching and you have the ability to record professional audio and you can deliver a professional voiceover, then what you offer is a valuable service. And you should be excited to offer that valuable service to people that are out there because they need it. They need you to tell their story, whether that story gets told through a commercial or through an explainer video that they're creating to introduce their product, or through e-learning that they're using to train their new employees. They need you to tell that story. They need that service that you offer. So you have to stop being afraid to reach out to people. And I think that's honestly one of the biggest reasons why voice actors don't do the marketing, is because they're afraid of reaching out. And maybe it's a combination of several things, right? We're, on one hand, we're afraid that we're going to annoy people. On the other hand, we're afraid of the rejection that's going to be out there. And every once in a while, yeah, you know what? You're probably going to annoy somebody. Big deal. Every once in a while, somebody's going to reject you. Big deal. Do you want to eat? Or do you want to just be comfortable knowing that you're not annoying people? Like, really, that's what it comes down to. So I think it's just not being afraid to actually reach out and connect with people, and then doing it in a way that you're comfortable with. If you like to do cold calling, then get on the phone and start calling people every single day. I am not a cold caller, but I know people who are great at it, and that's the way that they prefer to do their marketing. And so perfect. Every single day, you should be making cold calls. If you would prefer to do email, every single day, you should be sending out emails to people that could benefit from your voiceover services. If you're a LinkedIn rock star, then use LinkedIn. If it's Twitter that gets it going for you, do it on Twitter. I don't care what platform you use. The most important thing is that you are actually getting out there every single day and doing it. And I always tell people, the minimum amount of new leads that you should be adding into your pipeline every single week is 50. If you're not adding at least 50 people into your pipeline every week, you're not doing enough to grow your business.
That's huge. And yeah, I know that in the very beginning, that fear of rejection or that fear of being annoying was definitely prevalent with me. And every now and then still, even, here I am 6 years after starting, like every now and then it still creeps back in. I gotta, I don't have like an official email list or newsletter or anything, but I just, keep cycling through, make sure to email so-and-so in 3 months, 6 months, whatever. I had somebody say, please remove me from your list. And I'm like, well, I don't have like a newsletter list, but I'm like, okay. So I, marked like, hey, don't contact this guy anymore. And like, for a second I was like, ooh, ow, that hurts a little bit, but you just have to kind of push through that and go, okay, this is one person in a million. And you can't tell from their text, like, was this person just saying, hey, could you remove me from your list? Or were they like banging on their computer, yelling and screaming? Like you don't know. And you can't assume that they're like super angry at you. Chances are they're just like, yeah, can you stop, please? Thanks.
I would be willing to bet you money that they were not banging on their computer. They were just simply saying, but we build it up that way, right? We start telling ourselves this story in our head. What should you be more afraid of? Rejection from a complete random stranger, or not being able to pay your mortgage at the end of the month? Like, which one of those is worse?
That needs to be put out on Twitter. That's great.
Right? Like, not being able to pay your mortgage at the end of the month, in my opinion, is way worse than being rejected or annoying a complete and perfect stranger. So why is it that we let the fear of rejection from a complete stranger override our responsibility to pay our mortgage, feed our children, pay the gas bill, pay the electric bill, pay the internet, whatever the case may be, right? Like, we let these irrational fears, and 99% of the time, these irrational fears are nothing more than narratives that we have put in our own head that aren't actually based on any kind of reality whatsoever. I can tell you with complete confidence, I have sent probably tens of thousands of marketing emails over the years. And if let's just say I sent 10,000 marketing emails over the years. From those 10,000 marketing emails, I would guess that about 4 people have genuinely been pissed off with me, and they got over it.
Yeah, right. It's not like they're stalking you now or banging on your front door, trying to get retribution.
But the point is more that it's not the norm. If you send enough emails, the reality is, yeah, somebody's not going to want to benefit your services. But rather than being worried that you upset them, what you need to be saying is, perfect. This is one less person that I have to stay in contact with because they were never going to hire me anyway. And you move on.
Totally. One of the things that I've experienced, I mean, not just me, I'm sure every voiceover person has, is the dry spells. Like you'll get, a week where you get like 4 gigs. You're like, oh, great. Hey, this is a great week. I landed 4 auditions or whatever. And then you go 2 weeks and you're like, man, nothing. What is your advice on dealing with the dry spells? That seems to be from someone who has a teaching background where it's a very regular paycheck. A voiceover income is very different.
Never stop marketing. When you are busy, you need to keep marketing. And I think that's one of the biggest mistakes that people make when they're first starting out, especially, is they go through a stretch where they are booking fairly consistently, and so they just let the marketing slide. But what you need to remember is there's going to come a point when, that production company has used you for everything that they need to use you for right now. That e-learning company produced all their e-learning that they're producing for this quarter, and they may not have anything until next quarter. And so you still need to make it a priority. Even when you're busy, you still need to make it a priority to stay on top of your marketing. And that's where it comes back to, you need to be putting 50 new leads into your pipeline every single week, regardless of whether you have work or you don't have work. And on the weeks when you don't have work, you need to be doing 100 leads or 150 leads. That's it. I mean, my first 2 years as a full-time voice actor, I was a full-time marketer. I wasn't really doing any voiceover work. I was just working my butt off trying to find voiceover work. And now that I'm in a position where I do have a really solid client base, I'm still marketing every day. Only the difference is now I'm doing it in different ways. Maybe now I'm spending money on Facebook ads, so I've got something that's running in the background. Or, I hire a freelancer who does the lead generation for me, because I don't have the time to do all of that stuff anymore, but I still need to be marketing every single day. As soon as you stop marketing, as soon as you stop putting fresh new leads into your pipeline, that is when you are going to start running into problems. And then the other thing is that, you know what, the slowdowns, I don't care who you are, from the lowliest of low, haven't recorded your first gig yet, to the Hollywood. Every one of us goes through a dry spell. Every single one of us. The summer slowdown is a reality in every business. When I'm marketing to my production leads during the summer, every one of them is responding back with the same story. Yeah, things are a little bit slow for us right now. Why? Because everybody's going on vacation. It's just reality. And then come September, you're going to be so busy you're not going to know what to do with yourself, but you got to keep marketing.
Absolutely. It has to become a habit, like a eating routine or an exercise routine or whatever else. I would totally agree with that. Where I've hit my successful streaks is when I've been the most habitual and most purposeful in marketing. Now, something you mentioned was Facebook ads and Twitter and LinkedIn. What are your thoughts? I know you're a big proponent on social media with regards to marketing for voiceover. I'd love to hear your general overall thought and philosophy on that.
I think all of them are great tools. I think that sometimes we overwhelm ourselves in that we think we have to be present on all of them, or we see other people that are present on all of them. And so we assume that in order for it to work, we have to be present on all of them. And I say that's crap. I say you pick the one, or you pick the two that you enjoy the most, and you learn how to master them, and you just get really good at them. And if you're really, really good at LinkedIn, but you don't use Twitter, it doesn't matter. You're going to find enough leads on LinkedIn that you're not going to lose out if you're not working Twitter, or vice versa. If you're really, really good at Twitter and using it every day and you enjoy it, don't worry about what may or may not be happening on LinkedIn. You'll keep yourself busy enough on Twitter. And so all of them are present opportunities for lead generation. All of them present opportunities for passive marketing strategies through doing paid campaigns. All of them present opportunities for engagement and follow-up and staying in communication regularly with your leads and with your prospects and with your clients. So there's benefits. It's just a matter of getting in, doing the work, and using them, and knowing that you have to be using them consistently. You can't just do Twitter, once a month and expect that it's going to work. You can't just, buy some automation software, or you sign up for a buffer account and just schedule a bunch of tweets for your demo to auto send on Twitter over the course of the month and then call it good enough. That's not how it works. You have to understand how each platform works. You have to engage and use them the way that they were designed to be used. And you can certainly find and create opportunities through all of them.
I would agree, and I'm kind of experimenting with that myself right now, and I've not had not had so much luck, but I think maybe upping my regular use of it, like you were saying, would be helpful. All right.
The other thing too, you say you're not having much luck, but you don't know that yet. You don't know that yet, because I could run a Facebook campaign, right? I could spend $100 on a Facebook campaign and run an ad for $10 a day for 10 days. And at the end of those 10 days, nobody gets in touch with me. And I decide, crap, that was a waste of time. I wasted $100 and my campaign didn't work. But what if somebody was exposed to that ad? They just didn't need me right now. But 2 months from now, this random stranger gets in touch with me through my website. And I later come to find out that he heard about me through my Facebook ad that I ran 2 months ago. He just didn't hire me right away. So you never know for sure, right? And that's part of the problem is, we love auditioning, because auditioning gives us the instant gratification of being in the studio and recording an audition, and we walk away feeling like we've done something. Mm-hmm. But email marketing and passive marketing campaigns and stuff like that, because we don't get the instant gratification of a response, we just assume that it's not working or that we're wasting our time. And so we get discouraged and we give up eventually. I don't consider any of those paid advertising campaigns that I do a waste of time, because I know that I'm still getting my name in front of people. And just because I may not get anything off of Twitter right now doesn't mean that 6 months from now, somebody's going to come across one of those tweets, or somebody saved one of those tweets, or somebody bookmarked it, or somebody wrote down my website address and banked it and saved it for later. Like you don't know, right? So you're just constantly putting yourself out there. And as you put yourself out there, you build credibility, you build authority, you build SEO, which is good as well. So all of these different things over time, it may not seem like it's producing results right now, but over time they all tie together, and you never know where the results might actually be coming from.
That's a really good point. I hadn't thought about, well, I mean, thought about that a little bit, but it's funny. I've had clients email me out of the blue. People who become clients email me out of the blue. I'm like, where did you hear from me? I'm like, oh, I saw this, posted 3 months ago or whatever. I'm like,
yeah, that's it.
Weird.
You never know.
So, all right. So now we're going to move on. This is my favorite part because I get to know people a little bit better. 5 fun questions, just totally fun, random questions, just to get to know the guests a little bit better. So question number 1, what is the spiciest thing you've ever eaten?
Ketchup.
Wow, you rebel, you.
Oh my God. No, you know what? Like anything beyond ketchup, and I get the sweats. So we bought this house. I got married last year. My wife and I bought a house together. We moved in last summer, and we have this huge, beautiful garden in our backyard. And part of it is like a ornamental, floral garden, but part of it is for vegetables. So we decided this year, let's plant some vegetables. We're gonna grow our own vegetables. So about 2 weeks ago, we had radishes come up, and I was like, okay, well, I don't mind a radish every once in a while. So I pull this radish, and I'm like, you know what? It's straight out of the ground, right? Like it's like when you pick peas or you pick beans right off the vine and you just eat them right there in the garden. I bite into this radish, and it is the freaking hottest. I swear it was like eating a chili pepper or something. I don't even know what was going on with it. I just sweat pouring down me, and my face is all turning red. And she's like, "What's wrong with you?" I'm like, "What kind of radishes are these? Are you trying to kill me? What's up with that?" And so, yeah, that I can't do anything. I'm a total wuss when it comes to that stuff. I'm not afraid to admit it.
Oh man, is that a Canadian stereotype about spicy food, or is that just me making stuff up?
No, because you know what? Like my dad would go in and like find 6 different hot sauces that are rated on a scale of 1 to stupid, rated, like really stupid. And he'd pour them all on his chicken wings and just eat them like there was there was nothing on them. So I just didn't inherit that gene. Apparently it skips a generation or something, maybe.
That's funny. That's funny. All right. Question number 2. What awful movie do you love?
Spice World. Spice World.
What?
I am not ashamed to admit it.
The Spice Girls movie?
I am not ashamed to admit it. I own that movie. I bought it on iTunes. Every time it comes on TV, I sit down and watch it. I love it. I love the Spice Girls. I love the music. I love everything about that movie. I know that it is just awful, but I am 100% not ashamed to admit that is an awful movie that I love completely.
Oh, see, mine would have been Starship Troopers. I don't know if you've seen that one.
I've never seen Starship Troopers.
Oh, my wife and I.
I'm too busy watching Spice World.
Yeah, right. My wife and I, when we first started dating, we were talking about movies or whatever, and we both had this guilty pleasure of like, we loved Starship Troopers. It was like totally cheesy. The acting is really bad at best. But it's just one of those sci-fi flicks. Like I'm the same way. It comes on TV, I'll sit down and I'll watch it. So
I dare anybody to watch Spice World and not smile and laugh and feel better about themselves at the end of 90 minutes. Like seriously.
Okay, but smiling and feel better about themselves, why?
You just, even as you're sitting there watching this movie thinking this is the stupidest movie ever made, it still just makes you happy. It just does.
Oh man. Okay. Question 3. This would probably take a long time to do with any kind of scholarly research, but just off the top of your head, what is the most disgusting sounding word in the English language?
The most disgusting sounding word in the English language. Oh man. I don't know. What is the most disgusting word? I know that I refuse to do medical narration because I can't pronounce half of those words. And I know that I don't like doing medical narration because sometimes when I understand the meaning of some of those words, it kind of creeps me out. It's like, ugh. But the most disgusting sounding word, I don't know. You stumped me on that one, but now I'm going to lay in bed awake at night thinking about it. I'm going to call you like a week from now and be like, Neil, I figured it out. I know what it is.
when you figure it out, you let me know, because that one's tough for me too. But I would think something medical would be up there for sure. All
Yeah.
right.
And just as a side note, like for those of you that do the medical narrations, I have mad respect for you. Anybody that
Totally.
has the ability to pronounce 16 syllable words, good on you. You're a
And
better
then
voice
keep
actor than
going
me.
with
Yeah.
breath control.
Without like throwing things at the monitor, because that's me. I get like after the 47th time that I've tripped over that word, I start throwing things. And yeah.
And you're like, you know what? Let me just program Google to say it for me. I'm done with
Yeah.
this one.
I
Yeah.
don't care how much money they're paying me. This is
Question 4. Would you rather be completely insane and know that you're insane, or completely insane and believe that you're sane?
insane and know that you're insane, or completely insane. I'm thinking the first one. I think if I'm insane and I know I'm insane, then I'm normal.
If you're insane and know that you're okay, so like you actually have, you know that you're going to see or
If I'm in,
experience or think things that
yeah,
aren't correct.
then that's normal for me. Whereas if I'm insane but I don't know it, then I'd be really confused.
Yeah, no, I agree. I
That's
I
what I'm
think
thinking.
I although you might have more fun with the second one.
This is true. You can probably
If you like, if you believe that you can make, if you have the force and you can make buses levitate or something like that, that might be, I don't know, that could be fun.
That's true. You
And
can
then,
definitely make some viral YouTube videos that way.
oh, totally, totally. And then finally, what is the smartest thing you've seen an animal do?
What is the smartest thing I've seen an animal do? I am currently in the process of being outwitted by a raccoon. Does that count? Because
Sure.
we got this garden, right? We've got this garden, and we planted corn, and we had this beautiful crop of corn that was coming up, and something came in and leveled a bunch of it. And so I started doing some research and determined that it was probably a raccoon. And so one of the things that I read was raccoons don't like the light. Obviously, we know this. They're nocturnal. So I go out and I buy this big honking motions activated floodlight thing, and I wire it up out in my garden, and it just lights it up like a baseball stadium. And I'm thinking, perfect. Now, whenever the raccoon comes in, the light's going to go, and he's not going to come back and eat any more of my corn. And it worked for about the first 3 days. And then he came back and he just leveled a whole bunch more of my corn. And so then I started doing some more research, and we read that they don't like hot stuff like peppers and stuff like that. So we
Are you part raccoon?
Yeah, apparently they're like so we grind up a whole bunch of peppers and stuff like that and make the spray solution and spray it all around the corn and everything. And then in addition to the light, and for the first couple days, again, it never came back. And then after about 3 days, all of a sudden we come out in the garden in the morning and he's leveled a whole bunch more corn. And so while I'm like right now, literally right now, while we're doing this podcast, a good friend of mine is on his way to my house to drop off a live animal trap, because I know absolutely nothing about live animal trapping. And we're going to attempt to catch this freaking raccoon now that it's pretty much destroyed all of my corn anyway, so it doesn't really matter. And now I'm going to see if I can actually be smart enough to catch this stinking thing so that we can relocate it somewhere away from my garden. And so I don't know if that makes him like the smartest animal, but I am currently in a battle of intelligence and wits and perseverance with a raccoon that's been going on for about 2 weeks now.
Animals are amazing. My wife and I, when we lived in Oregon, we shared a backyard with our duplex, the people who we shared a duplex with, and they had this big dog, this Rottweiler. And the Rottweiler had this like red rubber ball that he loved, and it had a bunch of holes in it so you could grip it real easily. You could just kind of claw into it. Well, we wake up one morning and we're about to go to work. We work both school teachers, and we hear the dog in the backyard going absolutely nuts, just and what had happened is a squirrel had grabbed the dog's ball and was standing up on top of the fence and literally, I kid you not, my wife will confirm this, was taunting the dog with the red ball, was like teasing him, and then ran up into the tree with the red ball and we never saw it again. And the dog was just going nuts. I couldn't believe this was going on. It was like,
Oh my
like
gosh.
something out of a Warner Brothers cartoon.
Yeah.
It was crazy.
Well, I don't know. I think my problem now is I think I watched way too many episodes of Billy the Exterminator. Did you ever watch that show when it was on A&E a few years ago, Billy the Exterminator?
No.
Just like this totally crazy redneck exterminator dude that just does the most ridiculous. Like he'd walk out in the garden and he'd sneak up on the raccoon and like grab it by the tail, and like he's just nuts, right? So I watched too many episodes of Billy the Exterminator, I think, and now I'm going to try and channel that. And I will not be defeated by this thing. It has outsmarted me up to this point. It has killed all my corn, but I will not be defeated. I will get the last laugh. I will get the last word on this raccoon. And so, like, in all seriousness, when this interview is done, I'm going to be meeting my friend outside, and we're going to be setting this live trap in the garden. And when I come out in the morning, so help me, there better be it. You know what's going to be in it? There's going to be a skunk in it. I mean, seriously, let's just be honest. That's what's going to happen. This whole time I've been planning for a raccoon. I'm going to come out in the morning. There's going to be an animal in my trap. I'm going to pick up the trap. I'm going to take it to relocate it. I'm going to get sprayed. I'm going to stink for days. I'm going away this weekend with my wife for our 1-year anniversary. I'm going to stink like a skunk the whole entire time that we're gone. Like, this is what's going to happen.
See, you're gonna have to learn how to talk like Pepe Le Pew for your 1-year anniversary, right?
Because I know this is the sort of thing. This
chérie.
Yeah, this is what's gonna happen to me. So watch for the story, because I'm sure it's gonna end up not even being a raccoon at all, and I'm gonna get attacked by a skunk. But I gotta try, because he's killing my corn and it's pissing me off.
You know what? I can't think of a better way to end the podcast than that. So, Marc, thank you so much for joining us. For everyone out there, check out Marc, M-A-R-C, marcscottcoaching.com. He's got a ton of great stuff there. I personally have used it, and it's been super helpful. So check it out. Follow him on Twitter and Facebook. Marc, am I missing anything to plug for you here?
No, that's it. And I mean, VOpreneur is the group that I run on Facebook. If anybody wants to get in on that group, it's just facebook.com/groups/VOpreneur, like VO, voiceover and entrepreneur put together. And that's a Facebook group that I run, and really just designed specifically for the purpose of helping you to get better with the business side of voiceover and becoming a better entrepreneur in that sense. And so for anybody that's a working voice actor that's watching, you're invited to that group. And I go live in the group, try every week to go live in the group and do Q&As and stuff like that. And I'm always posting content and trying to help you guys out. So it'd be great to have people join the group as well.
Awesome. Well, thanks so much, Marc, and best of luck to you with the raccoon or squirrel or whatever little varmint you got back in your backyard there.
Oh, man. Tomorrow morning is going to be a very interesting morning.
Indeed. Have a great anniversary, Marc. Thanks so much.
Thank you, Neil. I appreciate it.
All right. That's it. I'm going to, so